have Tony's brothers first, and then all others who want to say any of their memories about Tony. And I'm going to start with Peter.
No. Tony was 2 years younger than I am, and I grew up basically him needling me throughout life. And when I got into law school, he actually turned out to be a pretty nice person. He'd call me just about every Saturday morning and give me words of encouragement of getting through law school and the bar exam. And people don't know that Tony, it took him 9 years to get into medical school. He was very stubborn, and once he got his mind on something, he stuck with it. And medical school was one of them. Part of that 9-year period took him to Kansas City, where he worked for Kansas City Steel, and this was his helmet. And if you look closely, the name Boner is on the suit. And then his travails took him to Minnesota, and finally in 1983 he started the medical school program at Grenada. Tony never talked much about himself to us or what he was doing. He was always pretty quiet about what he was doing, and after the invasion of Grenada, my mother called. And this is after the dust had settled. He'd already been to the White House. We have a picture of him talking with Casper Weinberger somewhere in the house. And we got a letter from the White House thanking my mother for the nice letter she wrote about the support they gave and all. But we got a call from somebody, my mother says. I forgot who the name of the person was. While they were evacuating the students from the school, running across the beach to a helicopter, the Cubans were shooting at the Marines and the Rangers who were there, and the students were in the line of fire. Well, Tony's on the helicopter, and he looks back, and one of his classmates, a woman, fainted, was on the sand. Tony ran out of the helicopter, picked the woman up with the Cubans shooting at him, this student is telling us. So they could see the sand jumping up where the bullets were hitting. And he pulled the woman into the helicopter, and the soldiers yelled at him, "You shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't have done that," but that's the way he was. He never talked about it. When I asked him about it, he said, "It's no big deal, forget about it." And that's the way he was. Life was pretty simple to him, and he was kind to people. When we'd see him, we went to Maui to see him a couple times. Most of the time he came to see us, to visit Dad and all, but when we got out to see him, we'd go to a restaurant, and groups of people would stop and talk to him. Everybody knew him. We'd be walking on the street, and the police cars would wave, or Hawaiians driving trucks would honk and wave at him. And that's who he was. He was great with our kids. He loved his nieces and nephews. Really loved the Cubs and the Bears. We were really hoping for the Bears to pull it off this year. They didn't, but he got to see the game, and I could tell, even though he couldn't say anything, he was disappointed that they didn't pull it off. So we were glad to be able to take care of him. And for all of you, reach out to your family and pull them in close. Whatever problems you might have with a family member, forget about it. Just deal with it. Family's important. We took care of him. Patty and Marianne took care of him like he was, their blood relative. And Downey was great in taking care of him. She was sunrise to sunset, waiting on him hand and foot. And for those of you that got to see him, he appreciated your visits and all that. And thank you for coming, those of you who came there. And then shortly after, he came back with us, and he just wasn't up to seeing anybody. But thank you all for coming today, too, and God bless you all.